never, I think in no other sector of all those sectors I've worked in, do you get so many highly educated, confident, capable, skilled people get together and feel collectively so bad about what they do. I mean, and basically when we're in an industry that's there to help people ultimately. And I remember when I spent a short period of time with Aviva, about 3 years. And when I was having my interview, I won't say who it was with, but when I was having my final interview, one of the first questions they asked was, so how do you feel about coming into insurance? And it was a real sort of hand on the shoulder moment, like you realise sort of what you're doing here, you're coming into an insurance. And the thought had not crossed my mind that that was in any way a bad thing to be doing. It was interesting, complex, helping people. It was necessary for society to function. Why would someone feel bad about that? But then as I spent more time in the insurance industry, and that was my first time in insurance, I realised that actually the industry feels like that about itself. So then I sort of make a move after a period of time into a claims management company, loss adjuster claims management company. And then it was other sort of more hand on the shoulders moments. So you're going down the food chain there. You're not only in insurance, you're now in claims management in insurance. And I was sort of had another sort of furrowed brow moment, thinking, well, why would you feel bad about that? When the claim happens is when the value gets delivered. That's when people get the benefit from having insurance. Why would you feel bad about being in the part of the value chain where you actually deliver the value to the customer? And then, of course, I end up in IT, which is a more hands-on-the-shoulder moment, saying, so you're in IT in a claims management company in insurance. Sort of how much further can you go? And of course, my reflection on that is, well, IT is the enabler, it's the constraint, it's the disruptor, it's the new opportunities. The IT strategy and business strategy increasingly is converging. You can't anymore say, we'll define what we're going to do with our business, and there somewhere down the track we'll figure out what we want from our IT. You've got to be thinking of those two things in parallel. So despite all of the advice and the hands on shoulders, I feel pretty good about being in IT in Crawford. So I'll tell you a bit about Crawford very briefly. We're a claims management company. Our heritage is that dreaded phrase loss adjusting, one of the most worst branded definitions of a profession I think I've ever come across. But we still have deep technical loss adjusting expertise. But at the other end of the spectrum, we have very transactional claims processing. Someone loses their sunglasses and they want to claim it back because they bought the sunglasses on a credit card. The whole process finished in a few moments. We have parts of our business that do recalls for prosthetic joints, manage recall programs. We have parts of our business that look after workers' compensation schemes in the US. We have parts of our business that are doing motor policies, everything from motor home through to oil refinery fires, dealing with Superstorm Sandy, earthquakes in New Zealand. So it's an enormous spectrum of claims. And one of the phrases I heard a few times when I came into the business was the assertion that a claim is a claim is a claim. And at the absolutely most superficial level, yeah, you have lodgement, you have assessment, you have settlement, if you take the most superficial view. But as soon as you get below the surface, there is an enormous range of requirements. And what's more than that, we're 700 locations across the world, 70 countries. So at the headline level, $1.2 billion company, that's quite a big number. I wouldn't mind having $1.2 billion. But then when you think of the sheer diversity of product range we're covering and geography, and we're working with a huge variety of clients, corporates, insurers, brokers, everything from local brokers to to the big global brokers. That's a lot of clients with a lot of different needs as well. So and the reason for introducing this section in this way is it talks very much to what's my challenge in IT. We need to deliver solutions within the context of a $1.2 billion company that covers that enormous spectrum of requirement. If we took a traditional systems integration approach to that, if we went back 20 years to what the consultancies that I spent the early parts of my career in, after I was an engineer, but most of my career, you made your money off big systems integration projects that you went, the companies like BP or Unilever would spend $200 million, public sector might spend $400 million on a system. We cannot spend that kind of money on our systems. We could not run a transformation program. We couldn't take the traditional systems integration approach. So we have to be smarter than that. We need to figure out how to do it differently. Yep, so we're doing quite well in IT at least. We're getting some external recognition. So just throw those up there, the same as the Appian folks have done as well. So it's nice to get that external recognition. So what do we need from our systems then? If it can't be the traditional systems integration approach, what do our systems, what does our IT need to deliver for us? Consultative. We're working with lots of parties. We may be working on claims where a broker needs to be talking to the insurer, needs to be talking to our loss adjuster, and we may have the frontline loss adjuster dealing with specialists in other parts of the world on a particular claim. So it needs to be collaborative and consultative. Platform and location independent. So we're basically at our heart a field organisation. We do a lot of desktop claims processing as well. So there's a big BPO aspect to what we do. But a significant part of our business is about field operations. That means people out in remote locations, often in the middle of a farmer's field or in an earthquake zone or a flood zone in Thailand. And where we want to get to is that it doesn't matter what kind of device they're on. They can do whatever they need to do, independent of device. We need to support it. There is an element of being able to be not at the bleeding edge of technology, but not too far behind. You need to be able to tell that story. But then, more prosaically, it needs to be reliable, needs to be affordable, flexible and extensible. So that huge variety of requirements, that means we need solutions that we can adapt. And in many parts of our business, our clients will have specific requirements. We need to be able to customize our process, the way we interact with the client, the way we interact with the claimant, to the requirements of that client. So we need a high degree of flexibility. So that kind of spans everything that we do. Looking at it from another side, from another angle, what do you want an IT system to do? You need to be able to put stuff in it, capture data, get stuff in the system. You need to be able to do something with the stuff, some kind of activity that is hopefully value adding to the client and the claimant. So let's call that processes and workflow. It needs to be good at that. You need the right people need to be able to access the system in the right way. So that's portal self-service. You need to get stuff out of the system, information, that's reporting and analytics. And then in addition to that, we need to be able to develop new solutions for growth markets, and we need to have reliable, stable infrastructure. So actually that's really easy. Let's just do those things and my work is done. But of course there's devil in the detail. But it's the combination of those things. Why have we partnered with Appian? I mean, they've sort of promoted themselves quite well, so I don't need to spend too much doing it. But that is why we've placed the bet on Appian, is because we're not poor, but we're too complex and we're not big enough to be able to take a traditional systems integration approach to achieving these objectives. So we believe Appian as our partner will help us achieve it in a more intelligent way. So what do we mean then? If we take 4 of those foundations, data capture, portal, self-service, process and workflow, reporting and analytics, so what do we need? Well, more than anything, we need flexibility. We need to be able to build a system that we can inexpensively and rapidly configure to whatever claim management situation we're dealing with. So from a data capture, this is a slide I used in our sort of global management meeting in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago to try and bring to life for our internal audience what we're doing in IT. So from a data capture point of view, well, what data might you want to capture? Well, photos is a big thing in what we do, video as well, increasingly. Traditional keyboard entry, written information, voice entry, and scanned documents or other documents. So we need to be able to build a system that can take any or all of that in any combination as the input that we need for that claim environment, for that claim circumstance. Portals and self-service, we need to be able to support with our systems, customers or claimants, the adjuster, the handler, the broker, the insurer, the contractor. All of those entities can and are using our systems to work with us and to carry out their processes. And they could be doing it in any combination, so it needs to be collaborative. We want to be able to support any device, so Windows, Apple, Android, BlackBerry, and smartphones, tablets, laptops, maybe, we're not there yet, maybe Google Glass is the future, I'm not sure, but we need to be able to talk about it, have a plan for it. Flexible processes and workflow, I won't bore you with the definition of workflow, but it's important. And reporting and analytics. We had a good conversation about big data at the table. I'll let Michael give you his analogy for big data, which I largely agree with. But yeah, we need to be able to drill down, we need to be able to filter, search, we need to be able to draw intelligent conclusions, analysis, and we need to be very flexible in how we deploy that to clients or for our own internal purposes. So that's what we're building. And we're a good way down the track. We're not there yet. We're building a system in the UK that we can customize data entry for any program. And the idea is that if there is an operational and commercial need to do it, we will customize the data capture for that circumstance. And that's, again, I won't bore you with the details. It involves metadata, driven forms and things like that. But that's, we're well down the track with that. We're working in Australia, building a thing called an orchestration layer, which enables us to have that same kind of flexibility and rapid customizability around process and workflow. And our sort of 2 to 3 year roadmap is converging that with portal capability that has been developed in the US, and starting to put together all of the components of this and rolling that out globally so that we have a system that gives us the kind of flexibility that future-proofs us, because we don't know what our clients are going to want in 3 years' time. If we started a 3 or 4 year big SAP, Oracle, traditional systems integration project now, we'd be bound to get it wrong in terms of what the requirements are by the time we'd implemented it. So we need to be able to do it in a way that we're building the components, but we can course correct as well as we go through.